Okay, everyone, welcome to another exhilarating episode of Not So Common Sense. This is going to be the Prager U Debunked that I was planning on doing. I decided to be a little bit more fair in this debunked video because, the video is about a couple years old, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's 2016. Definitely not a fair fight to put a video that started during Trump's administration up against the tragedy that happened today. So I decided to not only just debunk that video, but a video that Ben Shapiro is doing, of course, right? He did a video about, politicizing this tragedy. And I'm here to debunk both of those videos. So now I'm just going to use basic common sense. Things that you know 100% to be true, and show you that just common sense alone can defeat these idiotic right wing ideas. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? The first I'm going to do is going to use the video of the Prager U video, which is about what should we do about guns. I'm just going to go ahead and guess that they are going to be for basically doing nothing about guns. Let's see if I'm right, shall we? So, without further ado, let's get to this video.
The next time you hear a politician call for common sense gun control, listen for the details. You are likely to be treated to a torrent of platitudes about assault weapons, gun control. Listen.
Okay, so like I normally do, I just see the person's name, Nicholas Johnson, and try to see Nicholas Johnson, and let's see what I can find about him. Let's just go on a Google search, basic Google search, and see what you can find about this individual, Nicholas Johnson. You know, yes, Nicholas Johnson. Nicholas Johnson. And I'm going to put his, try to get some, because he has a very familiar name. I'm going to put what he does just to get his, yes, just to get more about him himself. So, wow. So, let's see what I found. This is from Prager U themselves, by the way. So, can't say I didn't go and find something that is, pretty helpful to him. You know, it says he is a professor of law at the Fordham University School of Law, and he teaches about gun control, gun rights in his book Negroes and the Gun. Okay, let's see. That seems like very, very vague, correct? You know, very vague. Don't think that he's going to, talk directly about, you know, where he lies on that gun control. So so I'm going to try to see if I can find, you know, a more detailed thing about him. Because it just says he does gun rights, gun control. Doesn't tell you directly what he's fully about. So I'm going to see if I can find his wiki. You know, okay, I'm looking right now for him. See if I can find him in this, list of. They have a list of alumni on Wikipedia. Trying to see if I can find them because I always do like what Bosch would do, try to find who this person is and everything. You know, and since he started doing that, I was like, yeah, I can do the same thing. Just basically check for who this individual is that's in front of me and what biases he may have. Is he going to be pro gun or not? You know, I know you guys are Nicholas Johnson. Get that. Oh, shit. Get that back over there. Yeah. Got ants popping up all over the place. Don't worry, I'm going to get that taken care of. Nicholas Johnson. Well, it doesn't look like you can find much about him on here because, of course, he doesn't have his much of his information out there. So, yeah. So, let's just go off of what we have here, shall we? So, he looks like he talks about guns and whatnot. And he looks like to be a conservative. He has so much of a common name, you can't really find much about him. But anyway, let's just go ahead and listen to what he has to say.
Listen for the details. You're likely to be treated to a torrent of platitudes about assault weapons, gun show sales, and other half measures. These sorts of proposals are rooted in a theory of gun control that has been around since the 1960s. The basic idea is that fewer guns equal less gun crime. But for this theory to have even a chance of working, drastic reductions in the supply of guns will be necessary. Everything.
Okay, as you're already starting to see, he's starting to create a narrative that he's trying to say that, well, in order for this theory to work, fewer guns equals fewer gun related crimes. That means the guns have to be down to zero. Is the tense that he's trying to say, because if a gun, exists, period, then gun violence will happen, which is a complete and utter lie. There is a measure where you can have a certain amount of guns, and it doesn't equal out to a bunch of gun crime, right? So already we just know this to be true. Again, in 2000, from 2004 to start, actually, excuse me, from 1994 to 2004, there's been a whole thing that was called the assault weapons ban. This happened, and we all know it. And once the assault weapon ban happened, it created a time period where the amount of gun violence and amount of mass shooting events just didn't happen. So it was quite obvious. Once the assault weapons ban was lifted, we get to where we are today with a bunch of, you know, out of control, you know, a bunch of out of control massacres. Every day of the week so far, you're bound to find out that a mass shooting happened. And this is not something that's being used as they would say like, oh, it's being used and politicized. No, it's really out there. It's happening. Just recently, like I said before, there was a mass shooting at a couple of high schools in that was in Texas, and we didn't hear anything about it because we're already dealing with this mass shooting event here. There's so many, mass shooting events that we can't even cover them. I mean, really, just think about it. There's so many mass shooting events, we can't cover all of them. That's weird. The answer is not more guns because more guns doesn't lead to anything. But anyway, let's keep going with that video. Let's see what he has to say.
Else amounts to security theater. The late Senator Howard Metzenbaum, a strong gun control advocate, explained it this way. If you don't ban all guns, you might as well ban none of them. But few, if any, politicians who...
Of course, that's just one person's opinion. If you're trying to get rid of all, violence and period, this is not possible to do. But we're not trying to get to net zero all immediately. We're trying to do things that put measures in place so we eventually can get down to a manageable level. I mean, we should not have to worry about our kids going to school and being shot and killed. We're the only country on planet Earth, and I can say this because it was even then in 2016 that we're the only country on planet Earth that has mass shooter drills. Now, why is that? I doubt that there's no other country on planet Earth that deals with guns. Like, come on, be real. I'm pretty sure Japan. I'm pretty sure Sweden. I'm pretty sure the UK. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the other countries deal with guns. But why is it that we're the only ones that deal with mass shooting events like this? There's already over 230 something mass shootings already, and we hadn't even hit June yet. We hadn't even hit the middle of the year yet, and we already have almost one mass shooting event per day. So if you're trying to tell me, oh, yeah, no, we don't have to, do anything with guns, and just banning assault weapons won't lead to some measure of success, maybe you might not be knowing what you're talking about. And not because this dude is a law professor doesn't mean that he's not dumb as a bag of rocks, by the way. I say this all the time. It'd be some people that are the smartest individuals, but since they're pushing a conservative nature, a conservative solution, and a conservative ideology, that makes them dumb. Because conservatism makes you stupid. Straight up, it makes you stupid. You become stupid because you're trying to push a conservative ideology. So, let's let this idiot continue. Then we'll get to Ben Shapiro.
Call for common sense gun control have the courage to propose this. Even putting aside the issue of the Second Amendment to the Constitution, which affirms the right to keep and bear arms.
Which, again, does not mean you have the right to have only a gun to protect you. Because, again, I'll bring it up since, again, I'm using Ben Shapiro as well. Jacob Blake had a knife in his car, and conservatives lost their mind, saying that was all the reason, everything that the police need to murder him. Shoot him in the back, paralyze him. That was perfect reasoning, right? But he says, and he has right there, that's basically what they say. The right for people to have arms. By the way, that's not what the whole Second Amendment says. It says that a well-regulated militia. By the way, you don't see that ever said by conservatives. A well-regulated militia. You need to have a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated. 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 If you can get a gun without having to have ID and training, you're not well-regulated. But again, if you tell them about that part of the Second Amendment, they stick their finger in and say, la 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 la, I don't hear you, I don't hear you, I don't hear you, I don't hear you, I don't hear you. Bang, you trying to bang guns, take my gun away, take my gun away, from my cold dead body, cold dead body, cold dead body, la 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 la. Why? I thought you was pro Second Amendment. But the Second Amendment tells you already that it automatically comes with a way to modify that amendment. You have it has to be well regulated. This is nowhere near well regulated. A 18-year-old who's moody and having a bad day can get his hands on the guns in a couple of days, like literally 2 days, and shoot up a school. That's definitely not well regulated. I mean, for real, that's definitely not well regulated. This her phone going off. That's definitely not well regulated. How can you consider that anywhere near close to well regulated? But you notice that they don't point that out. It's because that will automatically destroy their argument. Automatically. It destroys the argument because again, you don't have the regulation and that's needed right now. And then of course, left wing individuals are saying, hey, let's go by the Second Amendment completely and regulate these guns. Like I've been saying to my fiance, I've been saying the left wing needs to propose having RPGs. Make a law proposing RPGs. And let's see how the right reacts to these RPGs. And once they react to these RPGs, say, wait, it is a gun. In the Second Amendment says they have the right to bear arms. It does not say what type of arms are there. If they say, well, common sense would say what? What? You can't have an RPG? Why not? Because if you start saying how dangerous it is, well, isn't that the same about the AR-15? Isn't that the same about a sniper rifle? Isn't that the same about any type of gun? Period. It is going to be the point where, again, it leads to the whole thing of should we be doing this anyway? And of course, if the right wing says anything about, stopping a gun being given and say, well, we don't need that gun, well, then that means we don't need any guns because you can say that. Well, everything says, well, if you get rid of, if you don't get rid of all guns, you won't stop gun violence. Well, again, it means we need to have all the guns in order to get rid of gun violence. We should have all the guns. So if you have all the guns, that means that we should be done with, gun violence, right? Because every person on the face of the planet that's a good guy will have every type of gun known to man possible, including an RPG. I'm pretty sure that a RPG will be able to stop the gunman that went into, Sandy Hook. I'm pretty sure if that security guard had an RPG, it would have stopped that, racist killer in Boston. Seriously, that's how you need to do it. I heard that the best way to beat crazy is to out crazy them. Out crazy them. That's why when you go against a flat earther, you say, I understand all the planets are flat. So they start to say, well, no, the planet Earth is flat. Why is planet Earth flat and everyone else is round? How does that come out? All of them are round, but all of them are round, but Earth. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, you believe in the moon? The moon is not doing this. It is the Death Star that's sitting out in space. And if you start to hear them complain about, you're making fun of me, and like, no, I'm not making fun of you. I'm literally agreeing with you wholeheartedly, but I'm saying it is other things. Now you're making fun of me and what I believe in. You do that to see how crazy they can get, because they keep getting more and more crazy. Then what happens is, well, you start to show them as being lunatics themselves. So let's see what else he got to say.
A gun ban has no broad popular support. Never mind the conservatives.
This is straight up a motherfucking lie. Like I said, no joke, a straight up motherfucking lie. A motherfucking lie. A assault weapons ban has over 90% support. I mean, seriously, over 90% support by Republicans and Democrats, because they believe that you should be able to, ban some form of guns, because the guns itself, certain guns, we don't need. They're for it. It's very popular. Matter of fact, I'm just going to do it right now. Check it out. Here's a Gallup poll. Yep, a Gallup poll. So, I'm trying to look for a poll that shows it. Okay. Yep, I think I found it. Following the East shooting, there was a. Yep. Bam. I'm going to go ahead and show you this. I found this here. All right. Bam. This is 538. Light it up for you. Bam. Following each shooting, there was a huge surge in media attention and correspondingly a sharply rise in favorable view towards stricter gun laws. On the day of the Parkland massacre, about 51% of Americans told, well, I don't know what that is. I think it's civic. They favor greater gun control, while about 42% oppose. A week and a half later, the share who said they favor stricter gun laws jumped to 58%. A significant increase in such a short period of time in the wake of the Santa Fe shooting 3 months later. Support rose for a little under 53% to a notch above 40 or 54%. Right? This is literally telling you that, yeah, it's they really do support this. People really support gun control. Duh. Strict gun law. There we go. Let's go ahead and look at this. Strict gun laws have been Americans' preference for most of the last 30 years. Back in the 90s, when Gallup first asked the question, a whopping 78% of Americans want stricter gun laws. The number gradually fell to 43 by 2011. Of course, there wasn't many coming out there. put it in a. But again, as you notice, they still is almost a overwhelmingly higher number. Put it in a epoxy tie with the share of Americans who were satisfied with the gun laws. But next year, in the immediate aftermath of shooting at Sandy Hook, of course, support for more gun sales restriction increased to 58%. It always goes up once people start to realize that we can do something about it, basically. Every time. I'm going to go ahead and share this, share this into the, of course, comments. So if anybody wants it, anybody want it, they can be able to get it, you know. So if anybody want it, you can go ahead and get it, straight up. Because that's how I do. Always try to say as much as the information I get. Definitely, if I just look it up and find it, bam. So here it is. This support for that right there is in the comments. This is the link for the 538 poll. So basically showed you straight up. Dude, realistically, just straight up fucking lied. Like straight up, there's no ambiguity here. Take a look. No broad popular support. No broad popular support. 78% is not broad enough. Wow. I never thought about that being the problem. So if you get up to 78% of the people wanting gun laws, stricter gun laws, is not a broad enough support. That lets you know that Prager U just pulls shit straight out their ass. That's why I try to tell you. All because he says he's smart doesn't mean that he is. He's supporting a losing cause. Straight up. He straight up lied. That's not misleading. That's a damn lie. And I will straight up say it. Unlike most people, I would say it. If he was sitting right beside me or in front of me, I would say that was a bullshit lie. Straight up bullshit lie. 78% of people wanting stricter gun laws is not broad support. What fucking part of broad do you need, bro? You dumb as shit to say that. I would straight up tell him right there. If we were doing a debate, I would say that was a BS lie. Straight up BS lie. 78%. And I would go out there and pull up that link right there. Straight up. 538 did it already. 78%. And it goes up each time a mass shooting event happens because we know we can do better. That's straight up a lie. He lied. Like, no, not misleading. This is a lie. Outward lie. Blatant lie. That's like saying that we don't breathe oxygen, we breathe shit. That type of lie. Anyway, let the video continue.
States. Handgun ban referendums failed by large margins in two of our most liberal states, Massachusetts in 1976 and California in 19.
That's because we have, individuals who literally bought by the NRA. We do know that the NRA is in a pocket of both the Republicans and the Democrats, by the way. Right? And have you noticed that they haven't done any more, gun bans? Matter of fact, he's not. If you notice, he hadn't said 1994. These happened beforehand. But in the 90s, we had an assault weapons ban, and gun violence went down sharply. What happened once that gun ban expired? Gun violence went up sharply. Let's see if he's going to mention that. I highly doubt.
No serious attempts have been made since then.
He lied again. No serious attempts have been made since then. This is 2016. Wait, we had an assault weapons ban in 1994. So you don't consider that a serious attempt? Again, I'll show you it. I always, like I said, if I find it, I'll show you it. And like I said, I'm just doing basic Google searches right now. Bam, here it is. The 10-year ban by the U.S. Congress on August 1994 was signed law by Bill Clinton. The ban applied only to weapon manufacturers after the yep. So bam, right there. Ban has there you go. There you go. As you can see, go ahead and scroll up a little bit. 10-year ban, 1994, from 94 to 2004. It happened. I'll go ahead and I'll again take this and put it into the comment section as I normally do when I find things like that and show you the link. There you go, Wikipedia. Easy. What you're looking at. So, kind of easy. Assault weapons ban. That happened. So he lied again. Again, straight outright lie. Again, he lied twice.
But
You know, you know, and I know what you're trying to say, Trey. So, what about that show? Does it show that it had any effect? Yeah, that show you. That show you because I know people. Some people would say, "Well, Trey, you gotta show if it had some measure of effect on the outcome." Right there, a 1999. No, that's Spanish. I ain't gonna try that. Study looked at mass shooting data from 1981, literally before the mass shooting happened, all the way until after the assault weapons ban happened, and found that mass shooting fatalities were 70% less likely to occur during the assault weapons ban period. And the ban was associated with a reduction in total firearm homicide fatalities due to a reduction in mass shootings. Literally. It literally shows, no joke, that the assault weapons ban, when it happened, when we had a ban in assault weapons, only assault weapons. So if you want to kill people, you could have still used a handgun. You can still use a regular old style rifle, a sniper rifle, any other thing. We just banned the damn assault weapon and magazines. That was it. That was it. The magazines and assault rifles. That was it. And guess what? It created a reduction. It created a reduction in fatalities, mass shootings, mass shooting fatalities dropped 70%. Can I tell you that if I were to tell you that 70% of all the gun violence we have, so let me do my math. We have about 230. Got my phone right here. Let's say 230. So almost, so it would cut it almost in half right now at the 6-month period. You take away 70% of that. Cut the literally cut more than in half. So it'd be down to damn near 100. And we're not even this is talking about overall. Damn. We're not even talking about if how many ones would stop. Like we already know straight up the assault weapons ban would have stopped this shooter right now from committing the murder. And I do know people will say, well, you go to the black market. Not guaranteed. Why? Because not everyone knows about the black market. It's not as if you can go on Google black market guns. Police do. You can get found out by the cops while you're searching it. I mean, for real, it's not as if you can do that. I mean, seriously, it's not as if you can do that and get away with it, right? The police will be on your ass real quick. Black market assault weapons. They look for people like that. But let's keep going, shall we?
Recently, Australia's gun control efforts have gained new prominence as a possible model for the United States to follow. Let's take a closer look at Australia. In 1996, after a lunatic used a semi-automatic rifle to murder 34 people in Tasmania, the Australian government banned all semi-automatic rifles and repeating shotguns. Owners of roughly 700,000 registered firearms, about a quarter of the country's 3 million total guns, were required to turn them in for destruction. The government called this a buyback, but in fact, no one had a choice. As my research shows, this model will not work in the United States.
He's not saying what happened. 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 Why is he not saying what happened? Because Australia doesn't have anywhere near as much gun violence as we do. And guess what? It would be able to work. You're going off his bullshit notion of, well, it had to buy every single solitary gun in existence from past, present, future. No. The assault weapons ban worked. It reduced it by 70%. And if you do the assault weapons ban and do the buyback, so the government gives you money for those guns, then you'll have money for those guns. And you reduce the amount of gun violence, mass shootings by 70%. And this is during a time period where social media and things like that and the technology we have of now and the surveillance that we can do right now didn't exist. And that was during that time period by 70%. So what's going to happen when it goes in this time period where you do have the technology? We do have police able to, pay attention to things like that, where anybody who does that type of thing what this gunman did will actually be shot down by the police because they don't have to worry about them, having a gun that can shoot almost infinite bullets. Come on, be real. And he's not giving really any data. He brings it up, it's not getting any data. He says, "Well, yeah, trust me, it wouldn't work. Trust me, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Why? Because you just said it."
For the simple reason that the U.S. has roughly 325 million guns.
So he used the fact that the amount of guns won't work. Yeah, it will. And you don't have to get rid of every gun. What about how many of those are assault rifles? How many of those guns do you how many of those guns do you attribute to the police? Seriously, how many do you contribute to the police? How many of those guns do you consider to the military? Don't forget that's 325 million guns. Is it all guns? Every type of gun? What type of gun? What? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? You gotta explain it. Come on, let's keep going.
This is orders of magnitude more than any other country. Even if the Australian plan were tried in the US and worked to perfection, we'd still be left with over 200 million guns, including handguns, which
Again, those guns does not include, like I said, all those military individuals who have those guns, or that's just basic civilian guns. Does it consider magazines, stocks, and everything like that? You know, what else? So, what else does it include? And yeah, come on, be real. How much? And that still will work actually. They'll still work actually. And handguns, aren't doing, a lot of school shootings and mass shootings right now. So come on.
account for nearly 80% of gun crime. But gun confiscation has never worked to perfection.
Did he just lie again? Because he just brought up Australia. Unless he's gonna bring up, well, Australia is literally no longer a country. It's not even on a continent anymore. It's a barren wasteland, a hellscape. Let's see. Let's see. Is Australia, which did do assault weapons ban, going to be a hellscape? Because he's lying again. None of this is anywhere near factually true. They're all 100% lies. This video is a complete and utter lie. They put up a 100% lie of a video. Let's see.
And sometimes threatens to make things worse. The 2007 International Small Arms Survey studied 72 countries that attempted to enforce gun confiscation or registration on their citizens. They found massive defiance of these laws, with only about a third of gun owners complying. If Americans defy gun bans at just
Yeah, that doesn't, sound like a bias ass motherfucking survey. And of course you're going to do 72 countries, some of which won't even be like the United States, be developed like we are. So yeah, and a lot of them be heavily be like one controlled by dictators and shit like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna do that, but you're not gonna use the developed countries. Australia, you used it, and you try to say that Australia wasn't a success. Well, I can always do it, and willing to. Okay. Okay. Let's see. You're still not saying the answer. So going to the hospital doesn't lead to bankruptcy. Last mass shooting was in 1996. Well, I do have something here. Don't really suggest using this company because it's a normally right wing, but still, here it is. What do you see in front of your face? A tweet. A tweet by someone who looks like they work at a somewhere in the with their government or some sort. He says, "I live in Australia, where going to the hospital doesn't lead to bankruptcy. The last mass shooting was in 1996. 1996. When was America's last shooting? A couple days ago. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and just call that one because I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there because the whole video was nothing more than a complete lie, and I'm not joking. I would love to say that I was joking about that, but no, it's a complete and utter lie. Nothing short. But like I said, I'm going to give this whole argument since that was in 2016, and I'm bringing up things that happened today. I'll give it right now. And it allows me to spend some more time debunking something else. Here is conservative idiot Ben Shapiro. By the way, I can guarantee you, all because he has a law degree does not mean that people aren't smarter than him. Average individuals. If you have a, if you pass first grade, you are smarter than Ben Shapiro because he believes in conservative ideology. And since he believes in conservative ideology, that makes him stupid because he has to wrap himself up in binds to prove something that everyone knows to be false. Let's see how he talks about politicizing this already political event.
Hear people talk about gun control in the way that they do. You have to understand that it seems to have nothing to do with actually preventing bad things from happening and everything to do with castigating their political opposition as evil. So, for example, yesterday, again, it's the same routine over and over. We're not even going to specify what policy we want, but we're just going to tell you there's a policy that solves all of this. And if you oppose us, it's because you oppose that policy and because you're either corrupt and in the pay of the gun lobby or something. By the way, when Joe Biden talks about the gun lobby, understand the so-called gun lobby in the United States has never been as weak as it is currently in the United States.
If the gun lobby is weak, why is it that Republicans and Democrats both don't want to do anything to remove assault weapons? We had an assault weapons ban in 1994. And again, like I said, and I'll show you again. Prove the point. Because, like I said, I just love proving the point. Because here you go, Ben. Here you go. Mass shooting fatalities were 70% less likely to occur. That's all you need to know. 70% less likely to occur during a time period where you didn't have anything like social media. You didn't have cops with body cameras. You didn't have the access to get police almost at an exponential rate. Everyone was dealing with damn near rotary phones most of the time in 1994. That means you got the mid 90s to early 2000s. Cell phones were, dime a dozen. When individuals finally did get a cell phone by 2004, guess what? They weren't nowhere near what they are now. Everyone had a goddamn movie camera in their goddamn pocket. So during this time period, where again none of these social media platforms were really around that much, you had YouTube that was barely even conscious. You had that, and gun violence took an immediate drop. And that was just banning the assault rifle and magazine. That's it. The assault rifle and magazine, that's it. That's it. No, you can still have your shotguns. No, you can still have your handguns. No, you can still have your rifles. No, you can still have your modified rifles. Yeah, you can still have every gun except for assault rifles. That's it. Ban that, immediately dropped it to 70%. Immediately dropped it to 70%. And I'm pretty sure if you do a buyback like Australia did, it'll work even better. Because people love money. People love taking money from the government too, because they believe rightfully, by the way, rightfully believe that they're getting their money back. Because you are. But let's Ben Shapiro keep making a fool of him damn self. Shall we? Let him make a fool of him damn self.
United States. And the NRA used to be an extraordinarily powerful political force in the United States. It is not anymore. But the NRA has been suffering like hit after hit because of internal corruption and serious.
This again is a blatant, straight up lie. If I was there with Ben Shapiro, I would say you're bullshitting. Stop lying to these people. They're still making contributions to Democrats and Republicans alike. No difference. No difference. They're still making contributions to them. And it doesn't matter. Just take a look at how Democrats and Republicans alike can't even, how Democrats and Republicans alike can't even tell us directly ourselves. Damn, that was an ant on my ear. Gotta watch out. Keep an eye out. Get somebody in here to spray this place down. But as you've seen, get up, shake yourself off. Get her up too soon. Good shit. I ain't trying to have that in my hair and ears and shit. Anyway, like I was trying to say, every time you hear about a conservative individual, hell, not even conservative, a politician, none of them barely. Well, I won't say none because Bernie Sanders is one, but that's pretty much it. Almost none of them are bringing up banning guns. Why is that? It's not the fact that it doesn't work. We had an assault weapons ban show that it did. Australia banned theirs and doing great. The last mass shooting they had was in 1996. Why? Because they dramatically reduced the amount of guns they had available. And all of a sudden, with that ban on assault weapons, their gun violence went down significantly. The last mass shooting was in 1996. 1996. When was our last mass shooting? Oh, a couple days ago. And I can go ahead and automatically say we had another one today. I can, with confidence, but not even knowing, just say we had a mass shooting today. Mass shooting. We had another mass shooting today. Seriously, you can do it with confidence these days. You don't even have to know about it. You don't even have to hear, politics about it. You can just say it. It's one of those things that you can, with confidence, close your eyes and say. But let's let Ben continue a little bit.
Management problems in the NRA. There's some other gun groups out there, but they don't have anything like serious political sway. The reality is that the gun lobby in the United States is gun owners in the United States, which is 100 million people in the United States.
No, the gun lobby is literally the NRA. No, regular everyday people aren't going and saying, here's a check. I want you to do this for me. I don't want you to be able to ban guns. It is the NRA. The straight up lie like he did. I mean, my God. Like, did these people really take this man serious? He's straight up lying without ambiguity. No ambiguity. This fucking lying wholeheartedly, full throated lies.
People who believe in the Second Amendment. In other words, it's a popular movement in the United States for people who are law abiding to be able to own guns. And nobody who's law abiding wants somebody who's not law abiding to own guns. I know there's this.
This is a lie. This is a lie. Because it's the fact that you have people like Tucker Carlson and himself making these lies up, scaring these gun owners to saying that, oh, if you allow anything an inch, if you give anywhere near an inch, oh, you may want to have, assault weapons banned, but if you ban assault weapons, they're going to take every single last gun from you and stop you from having guns, period. And they're going to arm the liberals. They're going to arm the liberals, and the liberals are going to be armed, and they're going to be using the guns and killing you with it. Right? But let's let the idiot continue some more.
This weird idea out there that somehow if you're a gun owner or you're pro gun ownership, that somehow this means you want bad people to have guns. No, I'm just assuming that bad people will find a way to get guns, and I'd like to.
Ben, you know what happens when you assume, right? Make an ass of yourself. Make an ass of yourself. So don't ever assume. I don't need to assume. I just know already that they're not going to be able to find it. It's not going to say that you won't have a gun, someone shot by a gun here and there. But again, as we've seen, 70%. It's a dramatic drop during a time period where we barely had any of the things we have now, any of the technology and surveillance that we have now. And if you put that with the technology of being able to have schools be on lockdown, if you have put that on with the technology to be able to, see that people who are talking about committing mass murder, because these things aren't ran by algorithms, it's actually ran by human beings. So if you put a tweet up online, you put a post up online, you'll actually be seen, oh, wait, he says he actually wants to go out there and murder some people. That can actually be put, and they can give that to the local police department, and they can say, should we keep an eye on this, or is this nonsense? You actually have people look at it and say, oh, wait, no, that's nonsense. You don't have to worry about that. Right? But yeah, let's let them continue a little bit more.
To have one to protect myself. And confiscating my gun isn't going to make school children any safer in any logical way at all. Make school kids less safe because I'm a person on hand who can presumably grab my gun and.
This is what I wanted, and that's what I want to leave it off at, because I want him to say that. Because that's what everybody tends to believe. You believe that you're Rambo. You can go there and jump and do doors and, do the Max Payne, slow motion, right? No. Ben, that gun owner that's doing that. Yes, confiscating some guns does help because they're gun owners doing the shootings. These aren't individuals who don't have guns legally. Every last one of the mass shootings so far has been done legally. They all legally had the gun. So yes, we need to, stop and put an end to, some, gun ownership, certain gun ownership. We had an assault weapons ban. It proved that it worked. Over 70%. 70%. And with that gun alone, it led to an actual drop in homicides. Actual measurable drop in homicides. You have multiple versions and different types of guns out there. You just took one away that I'm pretty sure most people aren't using to kill themselves with, and bam! All of a sudden, it dropped the it dropped guns, homicides, and deaths, and all that stuff significantly. Come on, Ben. Come on. Come on. That over 78% of individuals want? Come on, Ben. Even you can't even lie about that shit. Like I said, I just wanted to let him, talk a little bit just to get you an idea of what he's trying to go with. He's basically trying to say that it doesn't work. That banning guns doesn't work. The same like the other guy did. And like I said, showed you already. The margin, the overall margin is that people support gun bans. People support gun bans because the legal gun owners know one thing. I will take some form of discomfort over kids being killed, which I'm thinking that they would do. And I'm glad that that happened. I'm serious. I'm pretty sure that that happened. I'm pretty glad it did. Because people be able to see it. It's quite obvious. Overwhelming margin. Overwhelming margin of people already support gun violence. Support ending gun violence. They support some form of gun control. Easy. It's if it's not the 50 percentile, you know, you know, you know, if if it's not already done, already shown that overwhelmingly they support it. They overwhelmingly support it, or over 50 percentile support, some form of gun control, and 70%, over 70%, well over 70%, well over 70%, well over 70%, you know, well over 70% drop in fatalities. So I don't understand. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm checking my phone real quick. What the hell that was? You know, well over 70% support. Well over 70% drop in fatality rate. Over 50% support for it. And you telling me that we don't do that? They don't have no gun lobbies doing this. That the NRA is so weak. Just think about that. Ben Shapiro was trying to tell you, oh, you don't have to worry at all about, the NRA. The NRA don't have any power whatsoever. That's the whole idea of the KKK doesn't exist. So, they don't exist. They're not as powerful as they were. So KKK doesn't exist. So there's no need to even worry about, hate crimes. KKK doesn't exist. They gone. Gone. The whole thing like that. I had a feeling that he's going to play that route, that he's going to go that route and try to say that NRA doesn't exist. Why is that Donald Trump went down there? Directly after a mass shooting. Why is it that Greg Abbott sent a video as he's doing his media tour of the area? He sent a already previously recorded video of himself to the NRA to for them. So while he's going out there physically touring the area, which is all political, by the way, And for those individuals that say don't try to politicize it, it's been political because the gun laws that was used to create this were done through a political way. So whatever happens afterwards is already political. Excuse me. So, as you got to see, this real idiocy here, Ben Shapiro trying to somehow force himself to believe that this is not political, and then try to say that the NRA, I didn't let him even finish any further than that. I already knew, since he's going to say the NRA doesn't exist and basically it's not as powerful as it was, and that no one's a part of the NRA and it doesn't have any type of power, even though it literally takes the money out of it, literally gives money to politicians on both sides of the aisle. You know, $100,000, and again, also let's not forget that also why don't they, while these politicians have money and stock of these gun companies and gun manufacturers as well, so that helps as well. And the NRA is of course helping them in fundraising and helping them make more money. And as usual, every time a mass shooting event happens, guess what? What happens? NRA membership goes up. Gun purchases goes up. It's the best day. It's Christmas for them. Every time a mass shooting event happens, it's Christmas. Really? Come on. So if you don't believe this shit, if you don't believe this shit, good for you. If you somebody who tries to believe this shit, I mean seriously, let's be real. Let's just talk about this in a realistic level. You saw that Prager U video. Real truthfully, the guy lied the whole entire way. From opening to when I shut the video off, he lied. He lied and said that, banning guns don't have any type of support. It's of course well over 50% support for it. If you go back since the 90s, over 78%, almost 80% support. If you want to talk about, doing gun buybacks and things like that, like what Australia did. He didn't even say, because he lied and said that it doesn't have any positive outcome from it. And he brought up Australia. And Australia's last mass shooting was 1996. Like, for real. 1996. 1996. You know, 1996. I mean, I'll show you to you guys again. Because it's not me doing this. Is bam. As you can see, 1996. So with us, when we actually did assault weapons ban, it cut mass shooting fatalities by 70% and gun deaths overall by a percentage. And we weren't even trying to deal with regular guns and shit. We just did touch one type of gun, and that was all enough to actually have a cascade effect. And not only did it have an actual effect that you wanted, where, 70% of mass shootings, fatalities, went down. Went down by 70%. It was less likely to happen. 70% less likely to happen. However you want to put it, 70% was the number. So yes, you can't get to 100. But I'll take 70 over nothing. What Ben and the rest of the conservatives, Republicans want. They want nothing. Seriously. And again, I'll show you that link to Newsweek. And there you go. You see it. 1996. 1996. So, if I can tell you, if I can tell you guys, okay, you know, I don't know about you. I don't know about your politics and where you're lying at on political scale. But if I were to say that I'm going to put a ban in place, and these are I'll ask gun owners as well. I'll put a ban in place, and I'm going to ban a certain type of gun, and I'm going to guarantee that that this will be the last mass shooting for the next 30 years plus. It's still ongoing. They're ongoing. 30 years. So, not the fact that the next 30 years you have no, that 30 years on, that you won't have another mass shooting event for another 30 plus years. I'm pretty sure it'll be a good trade off. And the only thing you have is a small, you know, minute, inconvenience. Would you trade off that? I'm gonna try to get on Var's Discord and try to talk with him, see if I can get to doing that. So I am gonna do that because I know he's a gun owner. Because I would love to be able to talk with him as a gun owner. If I said we put a assault weapons ban and we do like Alaska did, I mean Australia, not Alaska, like Australia did, and do a gun buyback, and theirs worked, and they stopped them from having a mass shooting for another 30 years, almost 30 years, 1996, almost 30 years, 26 years. At a 26 years, it's been 26 years since they had a mass shooting. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Anyway, this is what I'm going to bring it to a close. I'm going to, of course, show you my Apple Podcasts because I just did a podcast, did a couple of them. So go give it a listen. That's great. It's all talking about this whole idea dealing with guns and, conservatives as well. Here it is on Spotify and support. Two things right there. You can go there and you can support me if you want to listen to my podcast on Spotify. Just bypass the window and just go ahead and listen to the podcast on Spotify. But yeah, I mean, as low as $1. I mean, 99 cents, not even a whole dollar. As low as 99 cents a month. That even that will be beneficial, superiorly beneficial for me. I can do a hell of a lot with just that 99 cent. So yeah, 99 cent. That'll be able to help me, and I'll be able to put foot in these conservative asses. Anyway, guys, this is gonna be where I can go ahead and bring this to a close. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, share the podcast. Later, guys.